What is going on, folks? Welcome back to Water Cooler Quarterback, where we act like we know things about football. My name is Andrew, and with Week 5 in the books, I want to go over some of the key takeaways from all of the week's NFL action. First up, I want to talk about one of the year's most exciting rookies, Anthony Richardson. Richardson currently has 3 passing touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns, and has only thrown 1 interception so far. That is a heck of a start for a young rookie quarterback. However, his Achilles heel is quickly becoming apparent as week in and week out, this guy just cannot stay on the field. Through the first 5 weeks of the season, Richardson has only started and finished 1 game, and he didn't play in week 3 at all. I absolutely love watching this guy. He is just so exciting, and I'm super happy that Indy has finally hopped off the QB carousel that they've been stuck on since Andrew Luck retired. But I'm becoming increasingly worried about whether or not this guy's going to be able to help his team all year long, as it seems like injuries just keep coming. The narrative of rushing quarterbacks being more injury prone is unfortunately proving true here with Richardson, and I hope that going forward, his health will be less and less of a factor, because ultimately the league is just better when he is playing. But let's go ahead and stick with the AFC South here, because I think this division may be one of the most interesting in the entire league. Heading into the week, the AFC South was dead even. Every single team was 2-2, and the division was wide open. Of course, the Jaguars just won back-to-back games across the pond, defeating the Atlanta Falcons and the Buffalo Bills, so now they sit at 3-2. Then you had the Colts and the Titans battling it out in Indy. Jonathan Taylor just got paid and made his return to the Colts just this week, and it looks like Ryan Tannehill and DeAndre Hopkins are finally finding a good connection. But the star of the game was the Colts' backup running back Zach Moss, who ran all over the Titans and led his team to a hard-earned win. And then, of course, there's CJ Stroud for the Texans, who continues to have a historic rookie season. He's got a record-breaking 186 pass attempts without an interception to start his career. And against the Atlanta Falcons, he led a fourth-quarter drive, throwing the go-ahead touchdown with less than 2 minutes on the clock. And though the team ended up losing that game, he has been playing out of his mind for the Texans. So the Jags and Colts currently sit at the top of the division at 3-2, and the Titans and Texans are right behind them at 2-3. Heading into the season, I did not expect these 4 teams to put up such an interesting fight for the division, but here we are. All of these teams have got their pluses and their minuses, and I'm super excited to see how the rest of the season shakes out. Now, the next thing I noticed in Week 5 is that the Miami Dolphins go as Tua goes. And sure, this isn't particularly groundbreaking information. Most teams are only as good as their starting quarterback. But just a few weeks ago, I was calling the Dolphins the best team in the league. They seemed unstoppable in every facet of the game. But this week, against the Giants of all teams, they seemed a little more, dare I say, average? Don't get me wrong, they nearly doubled the Giants' points, and they are still an incredible team. I'm not saying they are average, I'm saying this performance against one of the worst teams in the league was not exactly what I was expecting from them. They can still score lightning quick, and every play has the potential to go to the house, but Tua struggled a little bit in this game, throwing multiple interceptions for the first time this season, one of which was a 100-yard pick six. I joked heading into this game that I wouldn't be surprised if the Finns scored 80 against New York, but for much of the game, the Giants were competitive, and it was those costly interceptions that kept the Giants in the game. Now, am I worried about the Dolphins? No, I'm not. Not at all. But against a better football team, those 2 interceptions could be the difference between a win and a loss. And it seems like since their loss to the Bills, there's blood in the water, and other teams might be noticing. The Dolphins are still phenomenal. Let me get that across crystal clear, but maybe not the unbeatable juggernauts that we all thought they were. Tua has got to keep up his level of fantastic play, and I think he will, but I'm just saying there were a couple plays this past week that made me go, ooh, can't have too many of those. Now, the next key takeaway from Week 5 is that Bill Belichick's seat is really heating up. Last week, Bill Belichick suffered the worst loss of his head coaching career, losing 38-3 to the Dallas Cowboys. But you can kind of forgive that and say, hey, it's the Cowboys. They're one of the best teams in the league, right? Well, following the worst loss of his career, Belichick went ahead and had the second worst loss of his career, getting shut out 34-0 to the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are not contending for a Super Bowl here, folks. This is just a regular old team that just laid an absolute mollywop on the Pats. The Patriots have been outscored 72-3. in their last 2 games. 72-3. In both games, Mac Jones has not looked great, getting pulled both times because the game is simply out of reach. Heading into the season, I said Bill Belichick is on the hot seat, and I'll admit I threw him in there for a little bit of a hot take, keeping things spicy, you know? But at this point, there's no question about it. Since Tom Brady left, Bill Belichick has 0 playoff wins and a regular season record of 26-29. As the team's general manager, his roster construction has been disastrous. They don't have playmakers anywhere. And the few guys that they do have, guys like Ramondre Stevenson, are not living up to the hype this year. And now Judon and Gonzalez, 2 of their only bright spots, are now both injured. The Patriots are in disarray, and until Bill Belichick relinquishes his power as GM, I don't think anything's going to change. The Patriot way always worked when you had an all-time great quarterback leading the team, elevating everyone around him. But now, there's just no talent. And while the league has changed, Bill has remained the same. So I think it's time to start asking whether or not Belichick is the guy for the job moving forward in New England. Now, the final point that we are going to talk about today is that the San Francisco 49ers are head and shoulders above the rest of the NFC, and there is no doubt in my mind that the playoffs are going to run through Santa Clara. Sunday Night Football was embarrassing. I really thought this was going to be a good game, and it was not. The Cowboys were clearly inferior in all phases of the game. Not once did I think, hey, they're making a game of it. It was just bad from start to finish. And while I've not watched the all 22 angles of this game, I have to imagine that some of Prescott's sacks were just coverage sacks, because there were times that he was just holding the ball way too long and just letting the defense get to him. I've said for a while that, the Cowboys offense doesn't have a lot of great stats because, well, they don't need to. They haven't been in a game where they have to put up a bunch of yards and points. Well, guess what? Last night they needed yards and points. And where were they? It looks like without a pick six or a punt return touchdown or just the defense holding the opposing team to 3 points, this Dallas offense just can't move the ball enough to win games. Meanwhile, on the other side, the 49ers seem to have struck gold with Brock Purdy. Since his first start at quarterback, he has literally never lost a regular season game. His only loss came in the NFC Championship game where he got his elbow bent backwards. And at no point in any of his starts has he seemed rattled, nervous, or even the least bit worried. Quite simply, he is playing perfect at the quarterback position. I literally don't get it. I don't get how he is this good. It just seems like every time he throws the ball, it's caught for 15 to 20 yards, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. He's insane. For a while, I credited the offense around him, that he's just got so many playmakers, it's easy. So long as he's not making mistakes, he looks like a great quarterback. But I'm starting to think this dude is just a truly great QB. So to me, Week 5 solidified the Niners at the top of the NFC, maybe the entire league. Now, there are a few other key takeaways from the week that didn't really warrant a full diving in, but I wanted to talk about real quick. First of all, the Bills' defensive injuries, specifically Matt Milano, may sink their season. The Bengals appear to be all the way back, and Jamar Chase truly is always open. The Bears may be turning things around and becoming the team that I expected them to be. I mean, how about that DJ Moore guy, huh? And a quick shout out to Nathaniel Hackett for beating the Broncos. Good for him. And in closing today, I want to go ahead and leave you with my prediction for Thursday Night Football, which of course is the Broncos and the Chiefs. Now, I'll save you all the suspense of who's he gonna pick. I'm picking the Chiefs in this one, and you'd probably be smart to do the same. But that is all I have got for you today. Be sure to like this video, comment, and subscribe if you want more. My name is Andrew. This is Water Cooler Quarterback, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.